This video is sponsored by TrueFire. Playing a solo over a 12-bar blues progression is a great measure for us as guitar players. I can see where I've been, right? I know I play the blues a little bit better than I used to. And when I see my heroes or listen to my favorite guitar players play over this ubiquitous chord progression, I can hear how much work I have to do. What are the things that I want to strive for and get next? Turns out for all of us in this journey that we reach plateaus where we just don't seem to be making any progress. Like what's going on? I hear guitar players and students say this all the time. What's next? What's after the minor pentatonic scale? Well, it turns out, until you can make the minor pentatonic scale sound great over that entire chord progression, there may still be some work to do. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Today you will learn about target notes inside the minor pentatonic scale. Now, if you don't know what target notes are, don't worry about that. When we zoom in, I'll explain all that stuff. I was reviewing a guitar lesson, a video lesson from Matt Schofield over on TrueFire. And if you don't know who Matt Schofield is, he's a fantastic blues player. I'll link that lesson in the description below. It's really worth checking out. In this lesson, he formatted it in a great way. In most 12-bar blues progressions, there are 3 chords. The first one you play is called the 1 chord. That second chord in the progression is called the 4, and that last chord is called the 5 chord. The way he formatted this lesson was that over each chord in the chord progression, he cataloged all the scales and choices that he could use. So in this example, we're in the key of C. That's the backing track I played at the top. So over the C chord, what are the scales and ideas that he uses over that first chord? When the chord progression changes to F, what are the scales and ideas he uses now over this? And then finally, when it changes to G, what are the scales and ideas he uses over that 5 chord? I found it fascinating that over each one of these chords that he suggests, the very first thing he talks about is playing the C minor pentatonic scale. And again, we're in the key of C, right? A blues in the key of C. So over each one of those chords, his first choice was the minor pentatonic scale, which really got me thinking, how much do we actually leverage this scale, right? How much information is actually in that scale that'll help us outline the changes? Learning how to play guitar takes a lot of effort, a lot of focus, a lot of time, a lot of work. Learning how to play guitar online is even more difficult. How do you find the right lesson for you at the right capability level, at the right interest, at the right focus, at the right quality level? It's not very easy. TrueFire has solved this by curating thousands of lessons from hundreds of the world's best guitar instructors on one platform. I use this platform all the time, and that's one of the reasons why. It's because of the way it's laid out. You can target lessons that are specifically laid out for the thing you're focusing on and at the capability level that you're at. Check out TrueFire.com and enter the code CURIOUS30 to receive 30% off of any course there. And consider their All Access Pass that gives you a full year of access to all the content there. Okay, the minor pentatonic scale has a couple little gems hiding in there, right? It's got enough information, according to me and Matt Schofield, to get us through those changes. Let's zoom in and I'll show you how to do it. Okay, how are we going to outline the 12-bar blues change using only the minor pentatonic scale? For this example, we're going to be in the key of C, that backing track that I wrote, and that's available on Patreon as well, by the way. The backing track is C7, and in that key, in that chord progression, the next chord, the 4 chord, is F7, and then the last chord, which is called the 5 chord, is G7. So C7, 4 chord is F, 5 chord is G. Right? Those are the chords that go by. These are the chords we have to outline with the scale. Now I'm going to just put the C minor pentatonic scale here on the screen so we can see it. C, E flat, F, G, B flat, and C. Now if you look at this, you can see already we've got a C note in the scale. That's clearly where the scale starts. That's sort of the home base, the tonic for the whole song. But the scale also has an F in it and a G. These are the roots of the other two chords in the chord progression, right? The other two chords that we're going to outline, those changes that we want to outline, we already have enough information to at least tell us about the roots and see if that helps us outline the change. So the first thing we want to do is find those notes inside the scale. I'm just using that first position that we all know and love, starts on the E string, C on the E string. So for the C chord, the C's in this scale, in other words, the C's in the position here that we have available to us, are this one, the root where we start the scale. There's the octave. And the octave again of this is across the street from where we started. So here are all our C notes. Right? So we've got that laid out, sort of mapping them out and watching where they are. When the chord changes to F, let's find our F notes in the scale. Here's our first one, and we have another one here. That's our octave of F. These are both Fs. So over the F chord, we've got two places we can target to outline that change. When the chord goes to G, we also have two Gs. One here, and one across the way here on the B string. So here are all of our Cs, all of our Fs, and all of our Gs. Right? And we haven't left the position. We're just still using the minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so for the example, what I want to do is play the turnaround. These are the last few bars of the progression where we turn around to go back to the top. That starts on the G chord, down to the F chord, back to the C. So I'm going to use that as an example because it's got all three chords in it. We can sort of do a workout here of all three chords at the same time. So again, G, down to F, back to C. Now if I just play the roots, you can hear the chord progression go by. I'm just going to play octaves here. So you can see this is going to work, right? I'm just playing the octaves. All these notes are inside the minor pentatonic scale already. So I can even build a phrase out of this. Right? Sounds great. And it's using octaves, which is sort of cool. It's a cool technique, and it outlines the change perfectly. It's a great little phrase, right? Totally inside because I'm only playing the roots. But let's get a little more sophisticated than that. I'm going to take a phrase, a very, very simple phrase. It's just this. I'm bending up the G string here on the 10th fret, releasing down to the 8th, and then landing on the 10th fret on the D string, which happens to be the root of my C chord. I'm going to take that phrase, I'm going to play that phrase, but each time I end it, I'm going to end it on the target notes. I'm going to end it on G first, because we're playing the turnaround. Then I'm going to end it on F. Then I'm going to end it on C. You'll be able to hear the changes with just me playing this phrase. Right? I'm just taking a simple phrase and I'm targeting the end notes. I'm targeting the G first because we're playing the turnaround. Targeting the G first, then I'm targeting this F, then I'm targeting the C. And as I play it, you can hear the turnaround. Right? great example of just targeting a note to land on that outlines where you are in the chord progression. This, at its basic, at its most simple level, is playing through the changes. Okay, I'm going to give you another example, which is you can just start a phrase, maybe start and end a phrase on these target notes and just play through the scale. And again, it's just the C minor pentatonic scale. We're not doing anything fancy, we're just using those notes. So when we go to the G, I can play a phrase that starts on G and just walks down the scale. That's the phrase I'd use on G. Now do the same thing from the F, and then end on the C. So listen to this phrase. I'm just using the notes from the scale, starting on the note that is the root of the chord, going sort of bouncing up to the octave and playing down the scale, and I'm just doing it for G, and then F, and landing on C. Hear the changes go by, right? Because I'm being very thoughtful and I'm starting the phrase on those root notes. So there are a couple of tricks of just targeting these notes, either at the beginning, the end of phrases, and making sure that you land on them while that chord is being played. Arguably, the best use case is to do it on the downbeat, right when the chords change. G to F to C. Making sure you hit those on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1. Right? But as you can see, I can target those notes anywhere in that chord when the chords are changing, and I'll be inside. Here we have the minor pentatonic scale with enough information to get us started to play through the changes. Okay, there it is. There's still more mileage to get out of this wonderful scale, the minor pentatonic scale. And we saw when we zoomed in how outlining the changes was as simple as just targeting the root notes of each one of the chords. That gets us started down this journey of playing over the changes. I've tabbed this lesson out. Those tabs are on Patreon. There's so much more that I offer there. If you enjoy the style with which I teach, you like the content I produce, or you just like to support the channel, head on over to Patreon and take a look and see what you think. And if you do decide to support the channel, thank you very much. As always, I hope you found this interesting. I hope you found it helpful. Stay curious, and I'll see you next time.